Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everybody, no matter where you are joining us in the world from today. Welcome to In the Code Garden. I'm Renee Noble, the Regional Cloud Advocate for the Australia-New Zealand region, and I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about Git, again, for episode 2, our GitHub for students and rising developers. If you don't know what a rising developer is, it's you. It just means anyone who wants to learn and get to the next spot in their career or learning journey or anything. And today, to get there, we're going to be talking about how to get collaborative with Git. Today we're going to be talking about, we're going to do a speed recap of the fun analogy we had last episode, because we're going to try and build on that. We'll see how far we can take this analogy before it becomes just too crazy. We're going to then talk about teamwork concepts, so branches, pull requests, and forks, and merging is the thing behind all of this. And then just some extra tips on Git Blame, Git Stash, and cherry picking. So just some hot tips for everyone who's using Git, because they'll come in handy at some point. So today in our code gardening tools will be Visual Studio Code with the version control extension, which I believe should come standard with VS Code when you install it. Or if you're using the github.dev or one of the browser-based options, it will be there for you as well. And we'll, of course, be using GitHub. That's what we'll be needing today. Don't forget to sign up to our Cloud Skills Challenge if you haven't already. We've had a bunch of people already signing up, which is very exciting. We'll switch over to there and see who's already participating. I love to see everybody is already involved. We've got some people who have already finished the challenge, which is amazing. But we got multiple pages, and we had more people sign up since I checked earlier today. So we're up to 3 pages of people. Great work on everyone who's gotten started on the GitHub challenge. Love to have you involved. So let's get started. Let's go back to our analogy from last week. GitHub, Git, it equals shopping. That's the analogy we're working with. So when you're working with Git and GitHub, you have 4 key concepts that we covered when you're working just individually to make code and get it up in the cloud and get it into a repo, a repository, the place where you store all of your code. Step 1, code. Step 2, add. Step 3, commit. And step 4, push. So what did we say these were? Coding is like going shopping. You can put whatever you want in your trolley. If you decide you want to put it back on the shelf, that's fine. Just, browse around, do whatever you want. Don't forget to save your code. Putting it in the trolley, let's say, as you're saving. Once you're ready, you're happy with your items, and you can then go and add them. So we said this is going and putting your stuff on the conveyor belt to, move towards that lovely shop assistant who will help you with your transaction. You might decide to put all of your items on at once, or you might need to break them up for some reason. Maybe you're buying some for your personal use, some for your work, and you need them on different receipts, for instance. So we've added our things that we're going to do in this transaction to the conveyor belt. They arrive at our lovely shop assistant. Always say, oh, I don't want to actually buy the shoes or whatever. I'm going to leave those. They can help you with that. Easier to do before you pay for them. But, there's always a way to go back in Git. I'm going to say nearly all of the time. So we're going to buy our shoes and our shirt here. And we're going to get a receipt, which is a log of what we've purchased. It has all the details about what we've done, just like a commit has a message and all of the information about what's changed since the last time the code was updated or noted, essentially, because your repository is essentially just a amalgamation of changes to code. It doesn't actually store the whole mass of code per se as the code. It's basically calculated from all of the changes that have happened, or the change logs, and what is represented in the equivalent of a receipt is those commits. And it's all in there. So you can always take it back if you don't want to keep it. Finally, we talked about how push is a lot like posting something to social media. When you are working by yourself, the push is mostly important because it means your stuff gets pushed up to the cloud. And that's great for keeping your stuff safe in case your laptop catches on fire, for instance. But if you're working as a team, once you push something, other people might start building on your product. They might start, copying things, editing stuff. And that might be a problem down the line if you decide, actually, I'm going to take all of my clothes back to the shop because it turns out I don't want them. So pushing is like posting to social media. If we push everything out, we've taken all these awesome selfies with our new outfit, then, it might just be a bit awkward later if someone else has gone and, shared that post to a lot of people, or your best friend's gone and bought a matching outfit to go with yours, and then you've returned yours. So that is our push analogy. When you put it out into the world of people you're working with, it can get a little bit more messy. And we're going to talk about that, working with other people today. So coding in a team, we're going to talk about branches, forks, and merging. Super important concepts to make sure you build code collectively in a sustainable and as least messy as possible way. That's the goal. So we've got a lot of different kinds of people in our team. We're going with cats today, but you've got your CTOs, your people developing it. You might have some interns, junior developers. You might have some product managers who need to see the code as well. So you have a lot of things going on and a lot of different people interacting with it. So GitHub has a lot of tools to help you with that. Okay, so when we're coding together, how do we do that? Think about, a Microsoft Word document. You can all type in it at once. You can edit different parts. It's great. You're all working together as a team. And it's just really easy. So much easier than, 20 years ago where you might, if you're lucky, be emailing documents back and forth or just printing them out and handing them to someone. But when we're working with code, we don't have all the benefits that we do today of collaborative editing on a Microsoft Word document. Not because we can't all edit code at once, and there's even tools for VS Code that let you do that. But if we had our whole team all trying to work on the code, I'm trying to run the code, and everyone's editing at different places, then it's just not going to work because someone's probably deleted something that they're updating and put something that's not finished in. It just wouldn't make sense to run code that everyone was currently editing, just like we wouldn't hit print in the middle of everybody editing something. So what can we do? Well, we're going to work together apart. So with Git, you can have your own space to make changes on your local machine. So on your machine, you have a copy of the repo and you have any saved changes. So, I've written print hello world and I've hit save. That's some good stuff. It's still going to be there when I come back to it. No one else has a copy of that because I haven't pushed it yet. So I also have all of my unpushed commits. So anything I've just done on my computer, I have access to. Nobody else has access to. And once I push all my commits, other people get access to them and they'll become part of the repo that everybody has. But what about the cloud? We haven't used the cloud there, and this means that the worst could happen. Our laptop could catch on fire. We could drop it in the toilet. Who knows what could happen? But if our laptop is the only place with the code we've worked on because we haven't pushed it because we were all working on the same branch and we didn't want to push it all into, maybe it's a website, and if we push it to the main branch, that's going to display on the internet. If we haven't finished our project, we don't want to put it up there yet. So we haven't pushed it to the cloud, and my laptop's just fallen in the toilet and then subsequently caught on fire. Then what are we going to do? So branches are here to save the day. Thank you, Jack. Very excited to continue on these metaphors. I should say, do say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're joining from, and please feel free to ask questions at any time. And Timothy is saying, I was wondering how to access in the Code Garden series from previous, since the videos are unlisted. Okay, we've just had our lovely Reactor producer move to a wonderful new job, so we didn't have her at the moment. So some of our videos are currently unlisted. I'm trying to make sure that everything stays up to date as I can for getting the links, but I can't, or maybe I can now, make them listed. I'm trying to get them all and put them on my website. So I do have my website link, which has not all the latest ones, but all the ones from last year on it. So I'll drop that in the chat now. Why is my laptop in the toilet? Ben, if you've just joined in, maybe there's been a horrible incident with your laptop. Who knows what's happened? Maybe you have a dog that picked it up and put it in the toilet, and then your cat set it on fire. I don't know. There's things going on. Anything can happen. And when I was doing my honors thesis, my laptop did just die. That's probably the most likely thing, that sometimes laptops just die, and then you go, oh no. But luckily, everything is backed up to the cloud. But when we're working in a team, that can be more difficult, because that was just me working alone. I could just push whenever I wanted. But if I'm working in a team, I don't want to just push to the main branch all the time where everyone's working. In fact, we don't want everyone or anyone, in fact, working on the main branch. We want everyone working in their own individual locations, or maybe they have multiple locations if they have multiple different projects going on. So this is when we use branches. A branch is essentially, as I was saying, everything in Git is a reference to the work that's done before. So we can point to say, hey, that's the place I'm starting at, and I'm going to add more code over here, and those changes should follow on from there. So it's essentially kind of like a graph or a maze of things that all connect, a tree really, of how everything comes together. And we can take a new branch off that tree and start making a new project at any time. So it lets us have our own branch, which we can then push to the cloud. GitHub allows us to have all of those branches pushed up to the cloud, and then they're all keeping all of those changes separate until you want to put them together later. So they're pushed to the cloud. It's not messy because you're not working on the same files. So that's how we can work together and work apart at the same time with the use of the cloud. So keeping all our code safe. So let's see what that kind of looks like. So different versions of the code exist in our repository. So our repository isn't just the one version of the code that is the main branch, but it's every branch that exists. So you might have dozens of branches, or possibly if you've got a big company, you probably have hundreds or thousands of branches that people are working on different features from if you have a big product. So there's, my code, I've made a branch for my new project. Your code, that's you, the viewer. My code's here, and one of my peers' code is over here. So we've all got our own individual branches that we are working on. So let's go and actually do that, because then we'll have our own places to play around. So I have created this very good repo, which has a README and an index file. We're going to start by playing with this one today. So I'm going to get up a terminal as well, but I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to make a branch. I did not show this slide for very long. We can do a couple of commands. We can list all the branches, which I'll show you first up. We'll make a branch, and we can also learn, see how to move back and forth between the different branches. Because you might have lots of projects going on, and you might be working on a bug over here and then a big project feature over here, and you want to be able to move in between those and then go back to the main and, get all the latest changes. So moving around is really important, and it's not like you just have one branch like Renee branch that I just use for everything. It's great to have a new branch for each item. So, really having helpful labels essentially is what it's about, because that way you've kind of made an isolated environment to get started on something, and that way it's just easier to follow when it says new homepage branch was merged into master. It's really easy to see what that's probably about. It's like your project name. So let's go and give that a go. So firstly, we've got our source control extension over here. So we've got our triple dots up here, and you can see, I'm going to make this a lot bigger. Hopefully we can see better. No, this menu doesn't get any bigger. I am sorry. So in the triple dot, we have our many different options of the more complicated things than we did last week. Last week, you can basically do everything just from this panel here. If I add something in here, if I spell it correctly, then, and I save it, it will pop up in here, and we could make those changes by committing those. But I'm going to get rid of that just so we have a clean slate, and then let us go and make a branch here. So we can create a branch, and I'm going to just call it demo make branch 1. And, you know, I probably want to name it after whatever project I was doing. So this is just my first one. But you can see here, and I hopefully have my my bash set up to show you what branch I'm on already. But we could start with branch, and it will list us Git branch. Really important to write Git first. And we can see that I have 2 branches now, and we can see that I am on demo make branch 1. So too easy to make that branch right there. And I can start coding. And then from then on, I just work on that branch as I would with what we were doing last week, just making commits, code, commit, add, commit, push, rinse and repeat. So you're coding and it's going up to the cloud, but you don't have to worry about anybody else. We can also, let's delete this branch, git branch -d, and then I just need to write the name. I don't know what's going to happen if I do it while I'm on the branch now that I think about it, because I'm checked out at it. So let's do the moving to another branch, as I thought might need to happen. So we're going to do git checkout, and then I'm just going to check out the main branch. So now you can see, once again, here, it says I'm on main. It used to be on this one. And let's try that, delete again. So now if we do git branch, you can see we only have a main branch. So let's make a branch from the command line, just because that can be handy sometimes. So if I want to make a new branch, I'm going to call this add profile page, let's say, for my really good website that currently has an index page. So let's see where we are at with our, let's just list them again. Here we go, add profile page. And I am currently on the main branch. Sometimes it checks it out for you, seemingly. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, sometimes you have to check it out manually, and I'm not 100% sure when that is, because we've just made another one again, but we're not on it. So that's okay. We know how to check out a different branch. So we can go git checkout, add profile page, and now we are on a new branch, as you can see here. Cool. So we've got a new branch. So what do we want to do with it? Let's make some commits and stuff. So I'm going to make a new file. This is code called profile.html. And here we go. And this one, look, I'm just going to copy a bunch of this and make this go much smaller. And then this is just going to say Renee's profile. And then facts about me. That's it. That's my beautiful profile page. And we, might come back to it, make some more edits in our journeys later in this episode. So we've got that. Let's go in here and add those changes, just pressing the little plus. And then we're going to say added profile HTML file. Okay. We're going to commit that. And I'm going to publish the branch. So until now, the branch wasn't on the cloud, and I need to say, hey, I've made a new branch, and we're going to push that whole branch to the cloud. So I'm going to take us to this place up here on GitHub. So I'm going to GitHub. This is under my account, I've made my demo git merging repository. That's the name of the repo that we're in. You can see, as it was before, we had the index HTML and the README. And if I refresh, should our changes be here? No, because we're currently looking at the main branch. But you can take a look at any branch that you want. And this might be great if you're working in a team and you know that Jenny's working on a great new project. She's got this code and maybe she wants you to have a look. give us some feedback, or you are like, oh, I saw that great demo Jenny had yesterday, had this great feature on that one page. I'm going to go and borrow some of that code. So you can see now that I'm on the branch that we made. You can see the profile.html file with our really good HTML. So that's all there, safe to the cloud. I wouldn't want to lose that code. So yeah, we've made a branch. We even deleted a branch, a bonus one that was on here, which you do with git branch -d for delete, and then the name of the branch. And yeah, those are our how to get started with your branch. And we committed and published our branch. So when we have a bunch of branches, what do we do with them? Because we've talked about them kind of forking out like a tree with lots of branches, and you can make branches off branches even. It's basically just a reference point. As you can see here, there's a reference point, and when I've made a branch, it's saying, hey, this is the place that I'm branching off. All my code relates to that code as a starting point. Yeah, so, but then at some point we do want to merge the stuff we've made back into the main branch. We use main now rather than master. It's just a bit nicer given historical context. We like to use main. But we want to merge our stuff back into the main branch because that's the one that, if it's a website, is getting published and people are able to access it. It's great to have a new feature, but while it's on your own branch, no one's using it. So we need to merge things back in. And things get way more complicated, or you can have lots of interesting ways of working as a team when you have lots of features, bug releases, bug fixes, like emergency fixes as well. So you might have a system that's quite common where you have a main branch, which is the one that gets deployed, and you have a developer branch, which is one that gets deployed to something referred to as staging, whereas you're testing for your team, so no one else can access it, and it'll have probably a copy of your database, but with everyone anonymized or things like that. So it's a whole working website, so you can go and actually test everything working all together. Because sometimes, things go wrong when you deploy things, and you want to make sure that it all looks great on your secret developer team only website before you put it onto the main website. But as you can see here, that's only one avenue in our branch world here. Some of our branches are very short-lived. So this hot fix, there must have been an emergency, something had gone horribly wrong. A branch was created and then was immediately merged back in. Some feature branches, yeah, they, some of, like, for instance, the developer one keeps on living, and we just keep, releasing it through the release branches, essentially. So they keep making their way back into master or main. And with the feature branches, though, they come to life, and then you normally wouldn't use it again unless it's continuing work on the same feature. So this would be the same feature here, being like, oh, cool, I'll add this new page, and everyone wants that, and I'll add the second part of this project, which is an additional new page, for instance. Or we might have one that gets one big feature merge at the end, but really for every feature, you want your own branch for that. And multiple people can work on the same branch. You can have branches of feature branches. If I was doing one half of the new feature and someone else was doing the other half of the new feature, you could merge those together as a pair and then merge that into your developer branch, finally into your main branch. So you can do all kinds of things with the merging and the branches, and some sort of structure is really about having good, strategies, teamwork, collaboration, communication to make this all, flow. So how do we code with branches? So we just made a branch, so we know how to do that. But first, if we're working as a team, we want to pull the latest version of the branch that we're going to branch off. So in this instance, we branched off main. We want to make sure, maybe we've been on holiday for a week. There might be tons of commits that have been merged into main. So we want to make sure we do git pull, or if we go across, we can, here are various options for fetching. If I want to fetch everything, all the branches and stuff, that'll get everything that I don't necessarily know about. If other people have made other branches, I might just want to get all of that stuff. And then we can also do pull, and we can pull the branch we're on, all of the branches. Question from Timothy in the chat. So there are a lot of branches in these examples where they merge with a branch up each level until they merge into master. A lot of trust to merge into the correct ones. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about how that trust works, because it's not all about just getting to go, rogue and merge into whatever you want. There are protocols or processes that teams normally put in place so no one has the chance to mess it up and then have to feel bad about it. So don't worry too much. So we've got our, we've pulled or fetched all of the latest code from yesterday, from 20 minutes ago even. Who knows what's happened since you've last pulled it. So we're going to pull it and then we're going to make a branch, because we don't want to miss out on something that's going to be useful for our project, or if we've missed it and it is an important part of our project somehow, because we're making an update to everywhere it says the name Renee in it and happens to be a new file that someone's just added that says Renee, then I want to make sure that I changed it there too. So we get all the files and we make a branch like we've just done. And then we are going to do the coding like we've just done. And then we can start merging. Sarah wants to know the difference between pull and fetch. And I just need to double check that. Fetch just downloads the objects and references from repository and normally updates the remote tracking branches. Okay, pull, however, will not only download the changes, but also merges them. Right, yes, that makes sense. So fetch will just get new stuff, but it won't necessarily do the merges into your existing code. So if I've updated some code, because I haven't pulled it and made a branch, then it might override my code or cause a merge conflict. So that's probably why you might want to fetch it, or just, make sure you're working in a branch. I think we'll avoid that. I think that's why I possibly don't know, and possibly Sarah doesn't know, is because people often just work in their own branches that they're working on, and therefore you won't likely have a difference between pull and fetch, because it will just download the new commits onto your main branch, which you haven't personally edited. And it won't get rid of your changes, which, I think that's happened to me, a long time ago, which is not a fun day. So make sure, you're being safe with your code, and fetching will be the way to not have it merge it necessarily, or we'll just download the stuff. Cool. Okay. So we have made our branch, we've done some code, committed, pushed it, and we'll just keep doing that until we're happy with what we have. And maybe we've finished our feature, or the part one of our feature, and we want to merge it with everybody else's code. So once we've done that, we want to pull the branch we're going to merge into again. So if we're going to merge into main, make sure we have pulled main. That way, when we merge back in, we're going to discover any conflicts then, rather than when we try to make a pull request or deploy it or something else later. So we want to do that when we do it locally. It's just, you want to make, deal with your merge conflicts in private. It's just nicer. So we're going to deal with that. And once the merge has happened and we've pushed that, then we all made a pull request, then we're done. So we're going to talk about what is merging and pushing, or making a pull request, and why would you do either of those. It's out of order. Okay, so we've got two options. We can just merge it, or we can make a pull request. So we're going to talk about just merging it. Welcome to the wild, wild west of coding. Well, not necessarily, but as Timothy was saying in the chat, there's a lot of trust in making sure you put it merge it to the right place. Also, who's checked your code? Like, what if I'm merging into master? Because I'm like, yeah, I made my new feature, let's just merge it into main. Then what if it's not working properly? We should probably ask a peer to come and have a look at it first, but we could just merge it into main. So this is, still a lot of people use this process. And if you're in a small team, it's probably just fine to just merge into main, especially if you're not deploying automatically new code, etc. if you're working solo as well, it's completely fine as well, because you're going to be the one who's reviewing your own code. But we can also do that through a pull request. And a lot of really great developers I really admire do pull requests for their own work, even when they're working by themselves. So this is kind of the wild, wild west of coding, just because you could possibly merge it into the wrong place, or merge in a bug. So why not? That's one option. Option 2, use a pull request. So a pull request is basically saying, hey, I've made this feature, it's on this branch here, and through GitHub, you can say, I want to make a pull request, and it opens essentially like a little module that's saying, hey, here's the link to my code, well, not the link, but here's my code, because it's all stored in GitHub. Someone should have a look at it. I want to merge it into this branch. And you might have all sorts of automated testing and rules set up that'll mean you can't even merge it without the right approvals and things like that. And people can put locks on the main branch and prevent you from doing it in the merging case. You can just have a rule that only the CTO can merge to main, for instance. Or you maybe have to have gone through a pull request process. There's all kinds of rules that can get set up. So we open a pull request, which we'll go through in a minute, which is just saying, here's my code, I would like some feedback. And this tool in GitHub has lots of ways to give that feedback. So people can go through and I'll show them line by line what's been added, what's been taken away. As we've talked about last week, everything is just a diff. It's either a green, a new line added, or red, something's been taken away, or the whole line's been taken away, in fact. So we have all those changes. Our peers can have a look at them. So they can do a peer request on our pull, a peer review on our pull request, PR and PR, and then we can get all that feedback. So maybe they want us to make a couple more changes before it gets merged in, and then they can see those changes when they get added, and then they can give it the approval when they're happy with it. And you might have a rule that you have to get 2 peer reviews and get the tick of approval from both of them before you're allowed to merge it into main, for instance. You'll also probably, maybe have some testing automations that run, and you have to get the green tick on all of those before you can merge as well. So we have all those options, and we just need to compare each of those. And they are, a decision to be made that works best for your team. But I really think the pull request way is a great way to work. It really invites a world of collaboration, and it has a lot of great tools for going through and reviewing your code. It even works great when you're working by yourself, because that way you get all of the code that you've made on this branch, and you can go, okay, I'm going to go through line by line, make sure this is everything I want in my new feature when I release it. And sometimes you'll find, oh, I don't know how that got committed. It must have snuck in with that piece of code that was above it, and you didn't even know it was there. So it's just a really good process to go through. So let's go through and merge a branch. We've got a couple of ways to do that. So we can merge into main. We can use a pull request, and we can also learn about handling merge conflicts. So let's go and merge to main. So here we are. We've got our different branches here. We've got main and add profile page. And we can go through and, where is the merge button? Branch. Here we go. Merge branch. Select the branch to merge from. That's add profile page. Cool. I might need to check out main branch first. That's what we're going to do. We can go through here and check out main branch. Okay, checking out branches. I don't know if I've ever done this through the tool. Publish branch, rename branch. Where are the branches? Use. Nope. I honestly don't know how to do this now that I think about it. I guess we will. I feel like there's a list somewhere that tells you all the available branches. But I guess we shall just do what we did before. I think it's here. Here we go. We can go down the bottom, and we can go to main. You'll also note that you can see all these weird codes at the end, and that is the latest commit that they are up to, and that's going to be something to remember for later. Cool. So we're here on main. Here we go. And where you can see that this file doesn't exist on main. It's gone red. It doesn't exist here on the side. Nothing is there. So we're going to use the merging option through here. I like it through here because it's you can do it through here. You can go git merge, and then you can list the branch that you want to merge from, which was add profile name, add profile page, and that would merge it in. But let's do it through the tool because it's just nice, I think, to merge it through the tool because it does make sure you are on the right branch, not doing the wrong thing, because it does have that language around it, that context, which is really helpful. So let's go back to the source code tool, and we're going to go branch, and we're going to merge branch. Okay, merge branch in here, and we're going to go from add profile page. Cool, and then we're going to go, okay, action will push and pull and push commits from and to origin main. So that's really good because that means it's pulling first. I hadn't pulled main again because I knew there was nothing on it. But if I was working on a team before I did it, and if I wasn't using this tool, I want to go to main, git pull main, and then do this process with the code that I wrote in the terminal below. But with this one, with the tools, it really helps you avoid forgetting to do any of that stuff, which is really great. So we're going to do that. We are merging in. And now we are on main still, and we can go look at our files, and now we've got our profile one. But do we have it up here on main is the question. And you still note that we've got we'll still have all our branches until we actually delete the branches. So that's a good housekeeping thing to do. Once you're finished with the project, it's been merged, etc. You probably want to get rid of it at some point because otherwise you're just going to end up with a lot of branches. So now we can see on main, it's also pushed the code for us. So it pulled main, it merged them, and it's pushed it. And now we can see on main, we've got profile. If you do it manually, it won't automatically push your branch. So you need to pull main. You need to move to main. You need to pull main, and you need to merge into main. And then you're going to need to push main again. So it's done all of that for us. But you can do those 4 steps individually if you're like, oh, I just wanted to merge it in for some reason. Maybe there's been some changes in main and you want to add that in. You might be more likely to pull main and actually merge main into your branch if there's been some great merges in great additions to main that you want. And you can do that both ways. So you can do these merges any direction, and that's probably more likely when you're more likely to use merge is when you're merging into your own branch rather than merging into the production branch. So that's one way to do it. Let's go and add some more things so we can make an additional, we can go and make another request. So this is, I got to add some facts. So I like cats. I like plants. That's the commit we're going with for this. And yeah, let us add those. Very good changes. Facts added to profile. Don't forget to use good commit messages because if you're trying to figure out how or why something works later, it's great to have all those actually make sense. You can trace your way back through how this file got made. So we're going to do that. And we're going to push that up. And we're going to, yep, up we go. I'm on main. That's not helpful. We're going to have to do that again. Let's check out another one. Check out the profile page. Now we're going to pull this in. Okay. Okay, let's start by merging main into this fun. So we're going the opposite way because there's just been a great addition to main by myself accidentally. So let's merge in a branch let's merge in the main branch to our code. So that way it's all up to date. While we do that, I'm going to read Timothy's question. Let's say you have 2 branches and you already branched one from main with your own changes and you pull from main. Would pulling from main remove any changes you already made in the other branch? No, branches are completely individual. They don't talk to each other at all. So as we saw with that picture, where are you, picture? This one, basically we've got a reference to this one here. And if I had another one branching off here, it's just saying this is the last commit I know about. But more and more and more and more commits will get added. But if you worked on a project 6 months ago and it referred to this commit, that's where you're going to start off. So you can ask, you can pull and get all of the latest commits as we've just done into our branch. Yeah, you don't, your other branches, if there's 1,000 other branches because everyone has different branches going on, then they're all going to be fine. They only just refer to that starting point commit that they were branched off. And you can change that, you can update it in different ways, but it's all safe. Okay, so now we've got all that code that I wrote. I also like, I don't know, craft. That's what I like. So we're going to save that. Now we're on the correct branch. We're going to add that. We're going to commit the changes. And then we are going to go, I forgot to add a commit message, so it's freaking out. You're going to be okay. Okay, no, it opened up a place to write the message. Add new fact. Great. Now we can commit. Now we can push. And now we can go and check out that branch again over here. So hopefully it's arrived by the time we get here. And we can see that profile has 3 facts about me. And let's go back to the main page. Okay, so we can see add profile page had recently pushed changes less than a minute ago. So it comes right to us that it wants us to make a pull request. So you can just go and you can click on here and it will default to merging into the branch that you merged it off, that you branched off. So I'm going to call this add profile page new fact or something. Imagine I had more things that I did in a series of commits that we would put all the details in here to describe it. So I can create a pull request. And then that's where all your tests would happen. So you can see you can add a rule. And then, yeah, we can see that we can go to the code. We can see the commits. We can see the stuff going on there. We can see the files change. So this is where you'll mostly be when you're doing a peer review or someone's doing one for your code. So we'll look here and you can click that and be like, love this addition. And they can leave messages for you and start a review. So that all keeps happening. You do more reviewing and then you can finish your review. So you might just have a comment. Maybe you're not the official reviewer. Okay, apparently I can't approve my own requests at the moment. So interesting. But that's okay. We'll just pretend like we did it. And yeah, you might request changes, be like, hey, please send this back. You've misspelled craft. Doesn't normally have a Q in it, something like that. Yeah, but you probably maybe you just get a comment, someone who's like, I'm not the real reviewer, but I just thought this was a great piece of code. Or you'd approve it. But I'm not allowed to do that, apparently, which is new to me. I thought I could, so I'm very intrigued. But you would hit submit, you'd hit approve, and then it would just be all good, and then it would get merged in to main, and then you would delete the branch through here, and the pull request would get closed. So that's what would happen there. So that we'll just leave that demo there. But once we've opened the pull request, it's pretty easy to just use the tools to make it all happen. Okay. So handling a merge conflict. Let's do that one. So this is one that I didn't learn for a while because people kept, telling me, oh, it's hard, it's too hard, don't worry about it, I'll fix it for you. But I'm here to tell you, it's not too hard and you can do it. So I believe in you and you're going to do great because it's actually not very tricky at all. So I'm just going to make an edit to the index file here. And I'm just going to say this is the title. Whoop, something's happened. Of course I can't do that. What have I done? I need to, let's just go and make an edit to the README. This is a demo file repo, demo repo for Git. That's what we're going to add there. Or just an edit online too. And we're going to, I'm going to make there be a merge conflict there. So let's just commit that to main. And then I am going to go and make a new branch because this one is doing some stuff. And like I could keep working on this one here because it's doing a pull request thing up there and that's kind of different. Actually, let's just work on it here. So we're on profile page branch and I'm going to go to the README. Give me the README. This is a really great demo for learning about merging in GitHub. So we've got those changes. This is a different one. Demo with Git merging. I am on the wrong one here. There we go. I've got a second one set up for our next one, which is forking repos. So I've confused myself. I did do that, Sarah. Thank you. Let's go to this one. This is a all right demo for learning about GitHub. So we've got conflicting opinions and we're going to make sure there is a merge conflict. So let's get that happening there. So this is just in the online editor version, just so I don't have two things going on. But I could have done this on my own terminal, in my own local version. So update README. Cool. Changes have been made. Okay. Let's see what this promotes. Maybe it's going to be fine. Okay, that looks fine. Let's do it. Okay, so we have not yet committed. This is a really great demo. Okay, we're in the right place, everybody. Everything's all right. Now we're going to do this, and now we're going to add this change. Update README with complement. There we go. Okay, we're going to tick that. And then, sure, we can push that. Doesn't really matter for the purposes of this, but I'm going to next up merge in main into here. Come on. You can, have you done it? Here we go. Okay, so let us merge a branch in. We're going to merge in main, and fingers crossed that everything is in the correct place now. So did it happen? Very confused. Merge branch. Yes. Main branch, please. Git status. Let's check it out. What's happening? Okay. This is all up to date. Let's check out main. Right. I think we need to check out main, and then we need to git pull. We'll do that. Cool. Okay. Now we've got our updated README. Here we see it's an all right demo. Let's go back. Here we go to add profile. And now we can do our merging in. Come back. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to merge in main, wrong branch, merge branch. and main. Okay, here we go. We've got our merge conflict, which can look really scary if you haven't ever seen one before. So we've got even this window popping up that's harassing us. There's merge conflicts, resolve them before committing. So we're going to end up with a merge commit shortly. So we want to resolve the merge in editor. So what we just do, we can see the two different parts here. And if you had multiple conflicts in the same file, you'd end up with a bunch of these chunks because you can see them separated by these parts that say head, which is our current where we are, and then main, so the incoming change from the branch that's being merged in. So we've got two options. We can say this is a really great demo for learning about merging in GitHub, or this is an all right demo for learning about merging in GitHub. And all we have to do is delete the part that we don't want. And that is it. And then we go, okay, we've taken what we wanted. Maybe you want part of one and part of the other. Maybe we wanted really all right. So in this one, we could literally make any changes you want and say, this is what we want to be there at the end of the merge. And then there we go. I'm just going to hit resolve in editor, complete merge. So that's what was, two options. What we're taking is really great demo and complete the merge. If I get a git log now, we can see that we've taken one of the options. Here we go. Well, we see actually one more. So we added new fact, we've updated with complement, and yeah, up the top here, that's the last one. So yeah, we've taken the complement and then we've done this merge commit there. That's the whole thing. So if you've been like, oh, I'm so scared, I'm going to get a merge conflict, don't worry, you know how to do it now. You just take what you want and leave, you get rid of what you don't, and that is it. So that is the hardest part, I think. So now we've done that, let's talk about how we can take someone else's project and do whatever we want with it. So say there's some open source project, for instance, or your friend's got a project and they say, hey, have a look at my repo. Feel free to do whatever you want. And maybe it's a really great base for a video game that they're making. And you're like, oh, this is really cool. I want to use parts of your thing and I'm going to make another version of it. And we can play each other's games. Or this is a great open source library. I'd love to extend it in this way for my own project. So I want that code. I want all of the code. I don't necessarily want to contribute back to it. Maybe I'm like, oh, my change is going to be silly. It's just going to be for fun. You don't want that. You're a serious, real repo. Or whatever reason you don't want to give it back, you can just get a whole copy of their code. This is called forking somebody's repo. If you want to later, you can then go and make a pull request. So say we've copied that code and we've maybe gone off one of the branches. It's a really cool branch, this one down here. We've forked off that. And then we have, then we're going to like, hey, actually, I've made some really good changes that might be really useful to you over here. Let us, if you want to, you can have my code. I'm going to make a pull request and you feel free to make some suggestions and I can make some updates and then you can merge it into your code if you want. Maybe you don't even want to merge it back into where that code came from off that, her code there. Maybe you want to put it all the way back to the top and like, this is really important. You're going to want to merge this in straight away. It's a security, issue. Here, I've made a fix for you, for instance. So we've got some options. So let's go and see how we can make a fork of a repository. So here we go. Here is my forking demo. As you can see, I'm a different organization. Here's my fake demo organization 1. And you can see this, this is my beautiful repo. It has this README. That's all that is here. And now, if we go here, you can see there are no forks so far. Feel free to fork this if you want to give it a go. It's nothing special, but if you just want to try it, you can do that there. So I can create a new fork. I'm going to need to choose some other organization. It doesn't seem to like forking its own repos. At least it didn't when I tried to do it 3 months ago. And now I'm just going to say, okay, under my own personal self, I'm going to make this fork. So you can say copy the main branch only, or maybe I want all of the options like I had before in the slide. So you get to choose what you want to do. There's only one branch in this one, so it doesn't really matter. Cool. So now it's forking. It's going to take a little minute to do that. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Cool. Okay. We've done it. We've forked the repo. I'm going to make a very important update. Git is great. So is GitHub. And I think that the person who made this repo is probably really going to want that information and to be in their README. So I'm going to first commit this code. And then I can go and go back to the initial repo. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So you can see here that I'm in Renee Noble Git Collab demo. I'm going to make myself a new tab. I'm going to go back where we came from. Okay, now we're in demo org here, and then pull requests. So we are here, and that is pushed. Just got to remember which side of the equation this comes from when we want to make a request. If I do new pull request here, fingers crossed, I don't make forked repo requests very often. Okay. Cool. Here we go. Yes. Go to your own repo and you can create a pull request. Might work from the other side as well. I feel like I've done it both ways. So the base repository is demo org 1. We want to push this into the main branch. That's where it came from, but we could select another branch if they existed. And we can then say, hey, here's the head repository where we are. You should have this. So I could create a pull request. Great code for you. Create the request. Now, go to my other version of myself. Pull requests. We've got a new pull request. I can take a look at it. I could go and I could leave some comments. Finally going to be able to show you what happens when the pull request gets merged. There's my really great code. As I said, I could leave some comments, etc. Great stuff. There we go. Start the review. Finish your review. You can see what the changes are like here as well. So we've got 1 line added, 1 line taken away. And we're going to, no, it's still not going to let me approve my own pull request. It knows that I'm trying to do things. Does it let me do it from the main page? Merge pull request. Okay, I can merge it. So I can't review my own pull request. That's fair. But I can merge it. And I could also do something called a squash merge, which I'm not going to talk a lot about today. I'm just going to say if you did like a bunch of extra commits, maybe they're like, oh, you misspelled something, misspelled that here. Oh, you forgot to add that file. And you ended up with 20 extra things on top of your like single, like, here's your great new feature. You might want to squash it into 1 commit. Just so instead of having, in the shopping analogy, 20 different receipts, you just have 1 big receipt that says everything you bought. Just, better for accounting purposes. So, but we only have 1 in this case. So I'm just going to merge that pull request. Cool. Okay, so now if we go back to the main code, we can see so is GitHub, and we've done it. We've merged in a pull request. So that's how we make a fork, and we can make a pull request right back to where we started from. So just a few other hot tips for your coding journeys, because yeah, there's a lot of stuff that there is to learn out there. So many things to do on Git, but here's some really useful ones. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Git Blame, because have you ever, to go with our shopping analogy, be like, who bought this giant pink flamingo that's sitting in our house? I didn't do it. If you want to find out. Or maybe it's like, where did you get that jumper? I really like it, and I want to get one in blue. So you want to be able to track down who did it. And you can do this for code as well, because you can find out who made each change, because it is part of that commit log, just like the receipt would have, your credit card number or something that paid for it. So that's a great way, especially, Git Blame isn't a very nice name, because it's, saying that blame is not, typically used in a nice way. And mostly this is used to find out who wrote this file, because I'm working on it now and I don't really understand how it works. So you can find out who did that with Git Blame. So let us take a look. Yes, these slides got out of order. We're going to talk about Git Blame, stashing your changes, and cherry picking briefly. So a quick look at Blame. You can actually see it in your files as well here. So this is, if something's in there, we can just go Blame right here, and it's going to show us who wrote each line of code. Of course, I wrote them all, but you'd have everyone's little GitHub picture there, which is super useful. You can also go in and use Git Blame within the terminal. If you want to give, say, Git Blame and then a file name, let's give it a go. I've never actually done it in the terminal, so let's give it a go. Git Blame profile.html. Then we see all of the changes, like line by line, who did them, what date it was, everything. So it's all just there. Timothy says he did a Git Blame yesterday, but had assignment using Azure pipelines. It took so long. Who in our team messed up the main branch before our project demo in class? Oh, that's terrible, Timothy. I hope that it's all okay now, but that's not ideal. You should also look up rolling back a project, because you're able to go back in time with GitHub, which I'm not going to talk about today, but it's very useful to know that that's possible. Okay, so we've looked up Git Blame. Let's also take a look at stashing your stuff. So maybe you've made a new feature. It's really great. You've committed all the stuff, probably even pushed it and everything. It's all terrific. And you showed it to your workmate just a little while ago, and then they're like, "That's super awesome. I'm going to tell our boss." Boss comes over a couple hours later, and you're in the middle of fixing a bug. And currently, none of your code for your website runs because you got everything changing to fix this other bug that you found. But it doesn't change how great your new feature was. But all your code does not currently work, so you can't actually show off the demo right now. So what are you going to do? You need to stash that code. So in terms of our shopping analogy, you've got your amazing outfit on. I've got lovely Barbie here looking flash, ready to go to the races or something. I don't know. She looks terrific, but her shopping trolley is a disaster, and it means that she doesn't look all put together, and she's not ready to go to the races if she's holding on to some cargo shorts, this hat that's destined for a trip to the desert, and some underwear. So she's not looking as great as she was, let's say, and not ready to go out at all. So you need to show off your outfit, though, and you need to lose that mess. So we're going to put these items on hold. So I'm not sure if this applies in all countries, but when you put something on hold, I'm sure it's a common thing, but at least here in Australia, you might, I want to go to lunch. I don't want to be carrying around all these shoe boxes I've just bought. I'm going to put these items on hold. So I'm just going to give them to the cashier and be like, I'll be back before the end of the day to buy my shoes. But can you just hold on to them for me and not sell them to anybody else? So we're going to do that. We're going to put all our stuff on hold behind the counter and let the shop attendant take care of it. Meanwhile, we can now look fabulous again and show off our outfit. Looking flash. So the equivalent of this is Git Stash, when we want to put our code away for later, not lose our changes, but just want to get them out of the way so everything is functioning as it was before we wrote all this code. So and we can get all of those changes back by doing git pop or git apply. No, this should be git stash pop, and git stash apply. So those are going to get the latest change from the top of your pile. So it's going to make a stack of things. And when you say git stash pop, it's going to take the top one and put it back in your shopping basket. If you do git stash apply, it's going to take it off the top and put it in your shopping basket, but it's also going to leave a copy of it behind the register. So you might need it again later. I'm not entirely sure. I normally just use git stash pop. But those are what you can do. So let's have a quick look at doing that. I'm just going to write hello here. This looks great. I'm very keen for this to get merged soon, but I need to do a demo right now. Let's, for instance, have a look with the preview. One of these is the preview. Yeah, we go. So, it's just not looking good. So we're going to need to stash that change. We're going to go Git Stash. There it goes. It's gone. Oh, much better. Now I can finally show this off to my manager. And he's gone now. So we're going to go Git Stash pop, and it's back. So really handy, hot tip for if you need to put something to the side just for a moment. Okay, that's top tip number 2. So we've had a look at Stash. Finally, cherry picking, the one that I'm also been, scared of the most for a long time. I've done it not many times, but some people swear by it. So I've practiced a little bit to make sure it's all ready today. We don't have a lot of time. We're actually over time, so we'll just talk about the concept and we'll give it a go, and hopefully it'll all come to fruition. But as I said earlier, those IDs for the commits are going to come in handy. So sometimes you're doing some code, someone else is doing some code, and they've just showed you a really cool new widget they've put in their page. You're like, oh goodness, I love that. I wish I had that in my page. And I don't want all the rest of their project they're working on. Just half of it doesn't work yet, but I do want that one thing. So that's the equivalent of saying, hey, I have this really great outfit over here, and someone's like, oh, it is fabulous. I really love your hat. So I want to get a copy of your hat. So we can see that all of these have been made in separate commits. We've bought a hat, a shoes, dress, and jewelry all separately. And we just want to get the commit or the receipt for the hat. So as long as they're in separate areas, separate commits, we can do that. So this is when we're going to use Git Cherry Pick. So we get that commit ID that we saw in the logs or in GitHub. So, and then we can go, okay, great. I'm going to use Git Cherry Pick so I can get a copy of that hat or a copy of that widget that you've just added. So then that will be copied to your branch from the branch, copied to the branch you ran the command from. So if I'm on my Git, my add profile page and I copy in something from somewhere else, then it will appear on my branch as well as staying where it was in the other branch. Because they have those IDs, when they get merged back together, Git will know how to deal with that being on your branch already, but other things not being on your branch. You'll have to do some, fiddling possibly to get it to work out, but it'll be worth it because you'll have a great new hat / a great new widget. So this is how you make that happen. So I don't really have any things set up to make that one happen for a demo, but you can just easily, I'll show you where to get that log. So we can just do git log, and you can see we have all of these numbers here. So if I wanted to go back and find something maybe in another branch and I see this commit and I go, okay, I want that one to go onto a new branch with a different project on it or whatever, I would go git cherry pick that number and just hit enter, and then it would appear, and then we'd be all good and we'd have a fabulous new hat just like Barbie. So that's how we do Git Cherry Pick. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up the show because we're way over time, but do drop any questions you have left in the chat. This has been great talking to you about all these wonderful Git things that I wish I'd been able to learn earlier and with less trepidation. And Git is not as scary as some people make it out to be. So that's why you should get involved and practice with the Cloud Skills Challenge we've set up and join everybody else who's already in there, which is fabulous. So love to see you all in there and love to see you all, completing, a bunch of modules. So that's fantastic. We also love it if you could do our survey to tell us if you liked this session. There's the free form comment area at the bottom now. So you're able to be like, yes, more Git stuff, or, do something on how to set up continuous integration in GitHub or something, which I'm hoping to do in a, coming to the Code Garden soon. So thank you, Ben. I love to be enthusiastic for you. We haven't currently got any new Code Garden episodes scheduled. I've been moved teams a little bit, but not really very fast. So I'm sure I'm going to be back soon doing something fun. It just might be something new and fun, doing cool new Fusion development, which is exciting. So, but you can check out previous Code Garden things until I come back. Maybe it will be next month. Maybe it might be the month after. We'll find out soon. But yeah, you can check out my previous streams from In the Code Garden and other series as I have done on my personal website. And yeah, we have a couple of things coming in. Timothy says, Git Cherry Pick only adds from a previous commit in another branch, so you can't use it to return an old commit in the same branch. No, it wouldn't make sense to add an old commit in the same branch because it's already in the branch. Or maybe you could rebase it. There would be a way to, pull that thing if you had one and then you had essentially the opposite commit or a commit that, got rid of it, you would be able to bring it back in. You might be able to do it with Cherry Pick. I haven't thought about it, but there are other things called like rebasing and whatnot that I think would do it well. So if you want to look more into that, you can also check out Oh Shit Git, and that will have a lot of helpful things for when you're like, oh no, I've done something wrong. I've deleted the code from this commit. And then you can, roll it back like you might need to do it with Ben's project or get back an old commit like Timothy. So there's lots of different options and just different stories of what might happen and how you can deal with that. So I think those are most of my links. We've got our Cloud Skills Challenge. We've got our survey. Please do that. We'd really appreciate it. And you've got a link to my page that has all the other things in it. You can check out all of the Reactor videos as well. There's people like me, but not me, doing other stuff. So maybe you're like, I really want to learn about Kubernetes, or I really want to learn about Azure DevOps, or I really want to learn about app service. And you can see all kinds of stuff on the Reactor YouTube channel. So thank you all very much for coming to Get Collaborative with GitHub. It's been lovely having you. And yeah, I hope to see you next time, maybe sometime in May. I'm hoping to do some CI/CD with GitHub, maybe setting up a cool dashboard with, by pulling some data out of GitHub. That's what I'm thinking. So thank you all so much for coming. I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's what this one's here. Yeah, do that. Bye.